3 ways Caitlin Clark and Fever's embarrassing loss to Mercury could wake a monster. Even though Caitlin Clark has missed a significant number of games due to injury, her Indiana Fever stand 5th in the standings. Some even believe their recent uptick in form would continue to propel them up the table. The second position is theoretically possible. For that to happen, they need to continue the form that saw them win 5 games in a row. Their upcoming schedule at home was favorable, and some losses would not hurt their standing. Against the Los Angeles Sparks, they performed well, coming back from a significant double-digit deficit to lose by just 9 points. The team was in high spirits, and their team chemistry looked on point. All those smiles vanished when they battled former teammate Dawanna Borna and her Phoenix Mercury. The Fever's performance was embarrassingly bad as the home team romped home to a 95-60 win. Caitlin Clark sat on the bench with a long face, and her teammates looked lost as almost everyone struggled. The lone bright spot, Sophie Cunningham, headed to the locker room for a brief moment for the medical staff to take a look at her ankle. They now return home for an easier stretch of games. However, this shocker of a loss probably came at the best possible time as it could wake the monster in the Indiana Fever. This loss was the jolt the Fever needed ahead of the playoffs. Forgetting the personal equations in this game, it was the manner in which the Phoenix Mercury manhandled the Indiana Fever that caught everyone's attention. The last time these two sides met, Dawanna Borna, who Fever fans seemingly blame for quitting on the team after just 9 games, was met with boos. Her fiancé, Alyssa Thomas, took exception to those boos and jawed with the fans. Other star Mercury players, Satu Sabely and Kalia Copper, slammed the Fever crowd for booing a great player in Borna. Their collective performance in this game looked like a response. They forced 7 more turnovers, and restricted the Fever to shooting just 34.3% from the field and a miserable 23.3% from deep. Not a single Fever player broke even in the plus or minus section, proving that the loss was as much about their lack of focus as it was the Mercury giving them a beating. This jolt is what the Fever needs, as their previous 5-game winning streak now looks like a stroke of luck rather than a true indication of their capabilities. They will have to dig deep if they are to make a mark in the playoffs. Fever players should take Mercury players' attitude personally. A look at the stat sheet alone should give the casual fan an idea that the Phoenix Mercury were out for blood. If the same fan watches the game highlights or clips of several plays through social media, he or she will understand that this game was a message from the Mercury. They wanted to collectively respond to support their newest teammate and did so in style. To add insult to injury, Mercury players were trash-talking and jawing at Fever players throughout the game. Most notably was Dawanna Borna, who was barking at Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, and others every chance she made a shot. Admittedly, this was coming, and the Mercury had every right to feel like they deserved to jaw at the Fever. What this should do is to infuriate the Indianapolis-based team. Caitlin Clark and her teammates should take this personally and return to practice with a point to prove. They know that the rest of the league will look at this game as the blueprint on how to beat the Indiana Fever. Now, the players should be focused enough to find ways to ensure no one can repeat what the Mercury did to them. Fever's response should coincide with Caitlin Clark's return and the playoffs. The Indiana Fever might be able to return to their winning ways, but as specified by head coach Stephanie White and Hall of Famer Candace Parker, they will be scary once Caitlin Clark returns from injury. Their next 4 games as winnable, and their collective skill should be enough to get the job done. But the motivation they derive from this embarrassment at the hands of the Phoenix Mercury should be reserved for later. The primary focus when Caitlin Clark returns is to ensure she gets back into playing rhythm. She might just have 6 to 7 games before the playoffs start. She has to first find her feet in terms of playing without fear of another injury, and then get back to her elite shooting rhythm. Then, when the Fever collectively reaches the playoffs, that is when they should unleash their fury. They currently stand 5th, and the Mercury are a spot above at 4th. If the regular season finished with them in the same order, it would set up a tantalizing first round in the playoffs. This would mean that both these teams will play each other in the first round, and the Mercury will enjoy home court advantage. What better way than to dish out their revenge by defeating the Mercury in front of their home fans? It would be the perfect way to start their playoffs, as then, the Fever would have the last laugh.